Um, I'm really, I really don't have words for what happened there. It was hard. It was tough. We didn't respond as well as we hoped, and the adjustment playing without Kai was bigger than we thought. I thought AJ played well in spots. I mean, he had 15 rebounds against New Zealand. That's amazing to be able to get that against a New Zealand team. Yeah, he played great against Qatar, but still we're just trying to integrate him in, and I thought our guards struggled this time around, and we just weren't getting into really our triangle. But I think the biggest part is that we just didn't defend well all the way through, and I think we got so locked in to trying to get AJ into the program, so we did a lot of teaching in the triangle. We had guys that were coming in from different places. We weren't together for a lot of it. We didn't have any. We had, I think, 2 practices the whole time we were there. It was games, no real practices. So, but we can use any excuse that we want. The bottom line, we didn't play well, and we didn't defend well, and that's really got to be our calling card. That was our calling card in Latvia. That was our calling card when we played New Zealand here. It's our calling card in the Asian games. But it was really on me. I just didn't emphasize it enough, and it showed. And so hopefully we learned some lessons and move forward. But you don't want to embarrass yourself on the international stage, and that's kind of what we did out there. Throw away the Doha games; those games didn't mean anything. But losing to Taiwan, and then getting beat up by New Zealand in front of home crowds, by the way. I should tell you, those crowds were crazy, amazing crowds, and the disappointment was we didn't play well enough, for them out there, and we would have loved to. So, this is where we stand. We know we're going to be without Kai for the rest of the year, so we're going to have to weather that storm without him. Like I said, it's like PBA. You lose your number 1 player, your star, and you have to play 3 conferences without him. It's really, really hard. It's hard to stay and maintain your level of play. So we'll have to do that in the meantime, and hopefully we can get better. And the idea actually was that with AJ's addition, we would become a better defensive team. But again, we spent so much time trying to integrate him into the triangle that we didn't really integrate him into our defense. And hindsight is best sight. And if I could do it again, I'd make sure that we get locked in defensively before we got locked into the triangle. So, that's on me.
Coach, the losses sparked a conversation about the composition of the team. You're still willing to stick?
There's so many things beyond what people are talking about. It's not just that easy just to pull somebody out, or add to the pool or get a bigger pool. There's finances involved, there's budget, there's extra travel time, more practice time. It's not as simple as just saying, okay, now we're going to go to 15 or 18 or 20 people. It's not that simple. And we came in with a program, and we're going to stick to that program as much as we can. We're not going to be too hard-headed about it, or I guess that's the way I'm being described at this point, being hard-headed. But we're not going to be too hard-headed about it, but we suffered some failure at this point. Hopefully we could and learn from it, but you don't learn from success, you learn from failure. And I think that what we said from the very beginning, we're not going to win all the time. We're not going to be great all the time, and that's just an impossible thing to do. But we can be better than what we were. That's for darn sure. We can be better than what we were. So at this point, no, we're not going to add to the pool. We're not going to subtract from the pool unless there's guys out there that don't want to join us anymore. But as long as these guys want to continue to play and represent, we're going to let them represent. And people are going to get angry about it. They're going to get angry at me about it, I guess. That's the bottom line. But we came in with a program. We came with an idea, and we're not going to change it at first panic. We're going to, let's see what happens. Let's take another chance.
Earlier, Calvin finished with 22 points. Of course, he was with you guys as well. And then now you got this blowout win. Could you just talk about the dedication of these PBA players heading back home immediately and going to the semis?
Well, I can't emphasize how hard the trip was and how hard the travel was. The travel, 10 hours, you're 5 hours in the time zone, 5-hour difference in the time zone, then coming back 10 hours and then going to Taiwan and playing and then losing the game. And of course, after losing to Taiwan, we're devastated. It's hard to get back the energy and stuff. Then we got to fly 3 hours from Taiwan to Hong Kong, and then sit around Hong Kong, and take another 10-hour flight to New Zealand. We get there at 1 o'clock in the morning. We have to practice. We got there at 3 o'clock. We got there at 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock in the afternoon. We had to practice at 3 and then play the next day at 3. So, and then another 10 hours back. And I just didn't realize, and plus these guys are all flying economy. They're 6'10", Jumar's flying, in economy. And, I didn't foresee it being that hard. I wanted hard, but it was much harder than I thought it was going to be. And the fact that they fought and played through it and did all that stuff and rode economy and stayed in form beds, and like I said, we had one practice in New Zealand. We didn't even have a shoot around because the shoot around was too early. The next morning, too close to the game, so we had one practice in New Zealand. So they just battled. We battled through it, and it was a great experience in terms of having to battle through these things. And this is something we're going to have to do in the future. It's so much harder playing on the road against a home team than it is playing here. Obviously playing New Zealand at home was hard for them. And I talked to the coach, and he said the travel for them was crazy when they came to play us. And the first thing he said when he saw me, when we shook hands before the game, he said, so how was the travel? And I said, man, it was really tough. And he said, especially since we went to Doha first. So, these are things that I'm still learning about the international game in terms of the travel and what it takes and playing on the road. PBA, we don't play on the road, we just don't play. We always play here. We're always deep in our beds. We're very rarely on the road. So the PBA players aren't used to it. Japan and Korea are a little bit more used to it, and they're a little bit more used to back-to-back games. But frankly, I'm not. So I'm blurry-eyed in some of the other, dizzy and blurry-eyed going through all that travel. I'm not a young spring chicken anymore. So, like I said, it was a really tough trip, and now we know how to set things up better. I think next time around, we'll be smarter. Not play 3 games in a row. If I have a regret, is that I didn't rest Justin and Jumar and maybe Scotty and AJ in one full game in Doha. I should have not even played them in game 2. I should have not played them against Lebanon, maybe played them against Lebanon, not played them against Egypt. But we wanted to win so bad. We didn't want to go out and get embarrassed, and it turned out we got embarrassed anyway. But that was the intent. We didn't want to get embarrassed, so we played these guys. And then I realized, halfway through the game, what am I doing keeping Justin and Scotty out there when we got to go play Taiwan? Oops, sorry. When we got to go play Taiwan and New Zealand. So that's actually what happened. We ended up pulling them out early and then not playing them anymore. So anyway, that's the story that I can tell you so far.
Coach, are there already plans, maybe friendlies before the August window? You already mentioned.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I think there's a plan, maybe a plan to go to Qatar again and play 1 or 2 games. So we're there early and we adjust to the time zone. And then go from Doha to Jeddah, which is basically only an hour and a half away. Something like that. That's something that I tell you, we ain't gonna travel that way this time and do 3 games in a row and then travel that way to get back and go over that way. So, I mean, if we do, it's gonna be in the same time zone. But I'm not sure we'll even do that. Maybe practice will be more important than playing games. Because we just didn't, we had 2 practices, basically. Once we were on the road, we had 2 practices and that was it. Game every day.
Coach, salamat.
Coach.